Alright guys, this is the language check video, so I'm going over it. Remember to correct anything that you miss. So Caitlin wants to visit Mars so blank can see its red surface. Since the subject of this sentence is Caitlin, I'm talking about one girl. I'm going to use the prefix she. I wouldn't use they because it's talking about more than one person. We is talking about more than one person. And her is a possessive pronoun. Showing that she owns something or something belongs to her. So that one wouldn't make sense right there. Had to be she. Now on the next box, singular and plural nouns. Singular is life. It ends with an FE, so I think about my F rule. My F rule is if it ends with an F or an FE, drop the F and add VES. So I'm going to go back to where the F is. I'm going to take that part off. And then I'm going to add VES and make that lives. And child is a special one. Since it ends with a D, normally I would add an S, but that doesn't sound right. Childs. This is actually an irregular plural noun. It does not follow the rules. If I have more than one child, it changes to children. So that one's irregular. It did not follow a rule. Now I'm to my dictionary one. I look at my guide words. Track, this is the first word on this page, and trip is the last word on this page. And I'm trying to decide whether tropical, timber, or treat would come on these pages. So I start with the first letter. I've already got my ABCs written down. That's my strategy. So both of them start with a T, so that means my answer would start with a T. They all do. So now I move to the second letter. The second letter in track is R. And in trip it's R. So that means the second letter in my answer choice is going to have to be R. In tropical it's R. In timber I have an I, so I can go ahead and eliminate that one. And then in treat I have an R. So I go to the third letter. In track the third letter is A. And in trip the third letter is I. So that tells me that the third letter in my answer choice has to come in between A and I. So if I look at tropical, the third letter is O. Does O come in between A and I? No, O is way down here. So I can eliminate that choice, but I need to check this one before I just circle it. Treat, the third letter is E. So if I go over here, is E in between A and I? E is right here in the middle, so that is going to be my answer, treat. The next box, you went back to the word list and you had to find words that started with a prefix that means under. Sub is a prefix that means under or below. So I go find all the words that have sub. I have submarine, submerge, and subway. Okay? So those were my three words that had the prefix sub. Now, those three words that I just wrote down, which one of those means to cause to be underwater? Well, I know that a submarine is a vehicle that goes underwater. A subway is a train that goes underground. So the only one that would make sense is submerge. When something is submerged in the water, that means it's under the water. So this would have to be submerge. Okay? Next box, conjunction. On this one, we had to read the sentence. My mom makes the best chocolate chip cookies, so I asked her to bake some. Now, what word connects to words, phrases, or clauses? I'm thinking about my fanboys first. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. So I'm looking to see if I see any of those words. Here's one right here. So, that's one of my fanboys. So it is a coordinating conjunction. It connects that sentence together. Okay? Now, this one, simple, compound, complex. Remember, if it's simple, it's one independent clause, one part that makes sense by itself. Compound is two independent clauses put together with a fanboy. So independent plus independent. And complex means it has one part that's independent and one part that's dependent. So remember my strategy. I read the sentence. So one day we may be able to learn more about Mars. I look and see if I have a comma or a fanboy. So I don't see a fanboy, but I do see a comma. So I'm going to look at both sides of that, both sides of the comma. So this part right here, one day. If someone came up to me and they said one day, that would not make sense to me. I would have to ask for more information. I would need more information. So that is dependent. It needs more information to make sense. But this part, if someone came up to me and said, we may be able to learn more about Mars, that does make sense. That's a complete thought. So that part is independent. So I have a dependent part and an independent part. That means it's going to be complex. And then last, our new skill, it said write the meaning of the underlined word. He was asked to remove his hat when he walked into the building. So if I look at this sentence, I see the base word move, and I see a prefix that we've talked about, re. What does re mean? Re means again. So remove means to move again. So he moved it the first time and put it on his head, but when he removes it, he's moving it again, which would be off of his head. So hopefully you did good on our language check, and make sure you turn to the back. And we are going to do the first 5 under simple, compound, or complex sentence.